Hey everybody, Josh Packard here, Executive Director of Springtide Research Institute. You know, at Springtide we say a lot that we are a sociological research institute, but I get the question almost as many times as I say that we're a sociological research institute. Why does it matter, and what does it even mean to be a sociological research institute? And I thought it was worth taking just a few minutes here to explain. So sociology is the study of group behavior. It looks at the ways that people behave inside of larger contexts. So most of you will probably be familiar with a psychological approach, which looks at all about the individual. How do individuals make decisions? What influences their unique approach to life and the choices that they make? Sociology takes the position too that while yes, those things are very much true, as individuals, when we make choices, we're doing so embedded in and constrained by the larger social context that we find ourselves in. There's really two metaphors that I use to explain this a lot. So one that I think is the most useful is to think about this as the forest and the trees. So as you walk around in your daily life, most of the time, you're concerned with what's going on right in your neck of the woods, in your organization, in your home, with your kid. And that is very much a tree concern, right? And you should be concerned with those trees. That's why you're a parent. It's why you have the job that you have. It's why you work in the organizations that you work with. But it is also true that there are things that are going on at the forest level that impact every individual tree. And our job is to pay attention to the forest. Now, here's why that's really critical from an action perspective. As you know, at Springtide, we say all the time that we want to be an actionable research institute. We would much rather be useful than interesting. And so we're striving for that every day. And that sociological perspective then is really critical in that regard. Because what happens at the forest level is not really something that you can control as an individual. You can respond to it. But you can't control social media. You can respond to its impact and its effects on your kids, but you can't control the fact that it exists or even what other people might decide to do with it. What goes on at the tree level, at your individual household level, with your kids, with your youth group, with your business, those are things that you can and should control. We get into real danger when we start trying to control the things that we can only respond to, and when we're only responding to the things that we should be controlling. So that's where the sociology comes in to make it very clear what is actionable and in what ways. All right, so if that was too much, let me give you a shorter and a simpler analogy. I've often thought about it like, if all you think is that the whole world is like individual people running around making, individual choices without any constraints or the influence of social context, it would be like watching a pitcher and a catcher in a baseball game. You would think, if that's all you saw, just a pitcher and a catcher, you would think it was just a game of catch. But of course, that's not all there is that's going on. There's a batter, and there's defenders, and there's the score of the game, and there's the time of the season that it's in, and there's all the fans, and there's the time of the game that it's in that goes into making up any individual decision to throw a particular pitch, to swing at this one, in terms of what the strategy is that people are trying to do. Right? The sociological perspective is that thing that gives us that wider angle lens that helps us to see that what's really going on is not a game of catch, it's a baseball game. That there's all kinds of competing things going into this event that is unfolding in front of you. We think it's really critical to understand 13 to 25-year-olds in the fullness of the context of their lives. It's one thing to know, sort of how many hours a day they're spending on screens or something like that. It's a whole other thing to know why they're doing that and even how they get access to that kind of technology, who's influencing them, and what you can do about it. And in order to get to that really critical information, we have to be bringing the sociology in, and that's why we're so committed to it at Springtide.